So hello everyone. In this lesson you will learn about how to make modulo art. So the first thing that we have to do is to create a square divided into 4 quadrants. So we have the first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, and fourth quadrant. So after doing it, you need to divide each quadrant. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the other half, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we will also divide it horizontally. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. And on the lower part, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So as you can see, this square is divided into different quadrants. And each quadrant is also divided into different squares. So we have to give a number to each of the square. So we have the legend here. So we have 0, 1, 2, 3. So we have 1, 2, 3, 0. And we have 2, 3, 0, 1. And we have 3, 0, 1, and 2. So as you can see, there is a pattern with respect with the number system from 0 up to 3. So the next quadrant, this one will be placed horizontally here. So we have 3, as you can see, 2, 1, and 0. So each of these vertical numbers should be placed horizontally. So next is 0, 3, 2, 1. Next will be 1, 0, 3, and 2. And we have the last vertical numbers. We have 2, 1, 0, and 3. You can observe the pattern. Now again, the number here on the upper part is 3, 2, 1, and 0. We will rotate it again 90 degrees. So we have to put it here. We have 3, 2, 1, and 0. And on the lower part of 3, 2, 1, 0 is 0, 3, 2, 1. And on the lower part, we also have 1, 0, 3, and 2. And on the lowest part of the second quadrant, we have 2, 1, 0, and 3. You have to observe the rotation of the number. Next, the number here on the lower right side, we have 3, 2, 1, 0. You have to rotate it again 90 degrees. So we have 3, 2, 1, and 0. And we have 0, 3, 2, 1. And we have 1, 0, 3, and 2. And we have 2, 1, 0, and 3. Now as you can observe, there is a pattern with respect to the numbers. So you have to maintain that kind of pattern so that you can make a modulo art. Now on the upper part of this modulo art, we have the legend. So we have 0, 1, 2, and 3. Now as you can see, there are different patterns here. Now you can make your own pattern if you want to. But for the sake of understanding, I just simplified it using this pattern. But again, you can make other patterns apart from this pattern I'm giving. So you have to consider this pattern. On the first part, we have 0. The pattern on the 0 part should be placed on the first quadrant on the upper left side of the modulo art pattern. So all the number 0 should draw the same pattern as what is drawn below the 0 on our legend. So let us put that here on our modulo art. So again, this is our pattern: 0, 1, 2, and 3. So all the zeros, again, you have to put the figure on each 0 on the first quadrant. So as you can see, those are zeros. So again, we place the zeros on each of the zero on the first quadrant. Next, number 1. The figure on number 1 should be placed on each of the number 1 here. So 1, 1, 1, 1. So it's very easy. On the number 2, you need to place a figure found on the number 2 legend. So we have 2, 2, 2, 2. And now you have to place 3. The figure on the legend on number 3 is this one. 3, 3, 3, 3. Now as you can see, we can form a certain pattern here. But now the next thing that we have to do is to consider the next quadrant. Now in this next quadrant, you need to rotate each of this figure 90 degrees. So if we have this figure, you need to rotate it 90 degrees. So we have 0 should be rotated 90 degrees, and here this one, and number 2 and number 3. Actually it rotated more than 90 degrees, but as you can see, when you rotate each of this figure 90 degrees, the figure will rotate, and also the colors. So we will place those figures on the second quadrant of our modulo art. So we have 0. So as you can see, 0 has a ping on the upper side, but now the ping is on the right side. Next, 0, 0, 0. Next one, the number 1 has been rotated 90 degrees. So as you can see, the circle part which is pointing on the lower right side will be rotated, and it will go on the lower left side. So we have 1, 1, 1, and 1. Next, we have number 2, 2, 2, 2, and 2. It also rotated 90 degrees. We have 3, 3, 3, 3, and 3. Now as you can see a figure which was formed when you rotated each of this figure 90 degrees. Now on the third quadrant, on the lower right side of this figure, you need to consider rotating each of this figure again into 90 degrees. So we have, as you can see, from this figure, each of this figure should rotate 90 degrees. So as you can see, the first figure here on the 0, the yellow color which was on the left side is now on the upper right side, and on number 1 we have the circle which is now pointing on the upper left side. So we will put that on the third quadrant. So all zeros should be placed first. 0, 0, 0, 0. Next, all number 1 figure 1, 1, 1, and 1. Next figure, all number 2 which has been rotated again to 90 degrees. So we have 2, 2, 2, and 2. And number 3 figure, we have 3, 3, 3, and 3. Now, considering again this figure, you have to rotate the figures found on the third quadrant 90 degrees again. So as you can see, we rotated it again 90 degrees. Okay, you can now observe that the yellow part on 0 is now on the left side. Now we will put this here. So now we'll start with 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay, now we will place number 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. We now place number 2, 2, 2, 2, and 2. and now we put the number 3. 3, 3, 3, 3. Now as you can see, on this modulo artwork, there is a pattern, and you can see that from those patterns, you can form a certain art, which is fantastic. So this is our lesson on how to make a modulo artwork. So if you're looking for the number pattern, just remember this pattern. So this is our lesson about how to make a modulo artwork. I hope you learned something from this video, and if you want more videos like this, just click the subscribe button and the notification bell below this video so that you will be updated with our future uploads in this channel. So that's all for now, and as always, have a nice day everyone.